going, YouTube? Today's video is going to be a little bit different for people who are just getting into the build or trying to decide if they want to play the Lightning Strike Berserker. I took some little time out of my day, made a little budget gear spreadsheet, and also included the Better Trading POE. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to import the, the paste bin into this thing, because I know a lot of people in the past always say, why doesn't it work? And the fact of the matter is you make sure to copy the content inside the paste bin and not the link. But in the end, this character is pretty strong. I was actually able to do 100% Deli, like triple beyond map without the Headhunter, but some people do say I have this amulet. I did buy this amulet for 20x.
To do that here.
But I think the amulet is probably like 80x, 79x or whatever. So even though I don't have the Headhunter on in the video, I do have some other stuff on that might be considered really expensive. But overall, my gear is probably around 60x or so, 50x, 60x. Could be a lot cheaper. Some of the items are honestly just wildly expensive, like the amulet. But I'm going to go over the budget gear I use for this build and how you can probably use that gear to probably clear like 60-80% Deli with no Headhunter and only an Inspired Learning. In fact, I think if you had an Inspired Learning, you would probably be able to do 100% Deli. Now, on the matter of it's worth doing 100% Deli, that might be a little bit hard to figure out, because 100% Deli does drop more Exalts overall, but it does take a lot more time to pick up. I did have someone in my chat who ran like 600-700 map sample size or whatever, said that 100% Deli ended up being resulted in 35% more in terms of actual total currency. So take that as you may, and I do believe that 100% Deli is worth it. And in terms of my currency situation, I think I have like 125x. However, I have some pretty sad news to share with you, and which is the fact that Mage Blood is literally going to the moon in terms of pricing. And this is probably something that you can kind of expect. The belt is really rare. It can't be made from cards. And once people start getting enough money and they buy it, this thing will go higher and higher and higher. And especially when people quit the league, because there's so few of them and people have more and more money, it is really easy for people to manipulate the price. Like say you have like a group of people, you can easily buy up all of these and relist it for 1 mirror or 2 mirrors or whatever. And it would not be hard at all. So that's why it's very important for the game to have a healthy population, so stuff like this doesn't happen, especially when the item is this rare. Because I bet you for sure, with how few of these are up, it is very easy for someone to just buy it all up, or a group of people. And that's what happens time and time again. So that's why we need more players to play. But let's get straight into the budget gear setup, and I'm going to go over what you should look for and what exactly you need. So first of all, I'm going to talk about Better Trading POE, right? Better Trading POE is something quite a bit of a lifesaver. You can use this on Chrome. You can also use it on another extension. So basically you add the extension in, and what this is pretty much a built-in bookmark manager for your, your trading POE. So you no longer need to save all your searches. You don't need to bookmark it. You pretty much just click here, and here it'll bring you to the Berserk helm. Now this is really good and really efficient for helping you in pretty much just being faster at the game in terms of searches. Like you don't want to take forever. So here I have a Tailwind Maven thing that I wanted to look up. Instead of having a billion tabs open at all times, this is much easier because you pretty much just have one tab open. And I already see something that I could buy if I wasn't making a video, but yeah, so this is definitely a good buy, but it is what it is. I'm making the video, so I can't buy it a good buy. But basically, tons of stuff saved up. You don't need to actually import anything. Before the league, you can pretty much list out everything you want to do, everything you want to snipe, and you pretty much just have it there. You can immediately. So basically, it pretty much just helps you out and makes it easier. So all you have to do, go to this link, download it, add it to your Chrome or other browser, whatever you may be using, and then all you have to do, say you want a shaped Headhunter when you want to register the trade. So here, this trade is done. You press register current trade, and then you can name the bookmark. So this is probably, you can just do, so say you want to name it like shaped Headhunter, and then you save it, and there you go. There it is. And if you want to get rid of it, you can just delete it by clicking on these 3 dots. And most importantly, say you have some friends who want to steal your build or some viewers want to take all your items, but you export it here, and then this brings you a copy and pasting. So this one you can copy it or you can put it into a paste bin like I have for you guys. And then you take this, you can copy it, and then you go here to, where is it? I don't even know. Where do you even import it? Oh, it's way down here. Import folder down here. You can't see it because of the thing. Let me get rid of that. So down here, import folder link right down here, import folder. And then you copy and paste the code into here. And voila, we have another budget lightning strike setup. That's all you have to do. So make sure when you take the paste bin link to copy and paste the code in here, press import folder and use, and then copy and paste it. I know a lot of people in the past copy and paste the paste bin link and then start bothering me about, oh, it's not working. And it's not working because you can't do this. And that's why it gets this code. So make sure to copy and paste the stuff, the raw paste data into the thing. But basically, this should be a lifesaver for everyone. Okay, next up, I'm going to go over every single piece of gear and some of the stuff you could look out for. I did list out the total cost, and it ends up being around under 5x. And under 5x, you're able to clear every single thing in the game. I guarantee it, or your money back. Not really. I'm not going to guarantee you guys because you probably can't kill all the bosses if you don't know the mechanics of Maven or Cyrus. But if I had the gear, I could do it all with all of this stuff. So number one, helmet, Berserk effect 30%. So you click here, helmet, Berserk effect. So what you're looking for is pretty much just a helmet that has this enchant. So this thing is nice because it increases your damage and defense. When your Berserk is up, you take less damage, you do more attack damage, and you also have more attack speed and more move speed. So it's insane to buff the Berserk effect, and your Berserk is going to be up like 60-70% of the time. So here you just want to look for a good base. I would probably go for an evasion base or an armor base. And then it doesn't need to be rolled. You can pretty much just spam some essences, buy some greed essences or resist essence and spam it, or spite if you need intelligence. And that's all you need to do. This should cost you around 15-20 chaos. So depending on what base you go for. So next you have the claw, and this claw is kind of expensive. I do like to spend a little bit more money on the claw because you know what they say, your weapon matters. Or they don't really say that, but basically budget claw is what we're going to go for. So what I look for in this thing is I put 300 elemental DPS and 2 attacks per second. Attacks per second scale really, really well. So you can see here we have 35 chaos, which is really cheap. Oh wait, 85x, that's not what you want to go for, but so 35 chaos, 40 chaos. You can see there's a few options. Some things you can look out for that will be a lot better is cold damage is generally pretty good for brittle. And also crit multi is an added benefit. Any type of resist, flat mana, wed roll is really good. So I say you got this claw, having some extra mana and having lightning res helps out a lot in sorting out your character. But make sure you don't have a corrupted claw that gets rid of this implicit. This claw has to have the implicit of life gain for each enemy hit by your attacks, as that is a huge source of our, our survivability. So this claw over here I like because personally it has a high elemental DPS and it also has multi. And multi is probably one of the better things in terms of scaling our damage. So that's why that claw's a winner. So this one's not too bad either because it has mana. And then it also has cold res, which makes gearing a lot easier. And then there's some here, this one. So there's a lot of different options. You can see it's all around the same price range. Now, the nice part about the claws for us personally is that the claws are cheaper because we don't need crit chance like raiders do. So next, shield. Shield is pretty self-explanatory. It's a red blade banner. You can get into some of the more advanced stuff with the shield regarding trying to get a good scourge. So some of the good scourge, one of the best scourge options is trying to look for, what's it called? Like plus, where is it? Well, you can actually get 21% chance to avoid elemental ailments. That's pretty nice. But basically, if you're just starting out, I would probably just go for a regular non-scourged red blade banner. It's only costs like 5 chaos, 10 chaos. But one of the best scourges is honestly +1. Or not +1, but increased strength requirement. Since we already have so much strength, it's pretty much a free mod on the scourge. But that's probably a more advanced thing. So for the budget version, just get a red blade banner. It can be corrupted, it can be scourged. Just make sure that the downside is not too great. So ring 1, Mark of the Elder. Mark of the Elder is a pretty hard ring to beat in general, and it's probably what you'll be using for a long time unless you could upgrade to something that would almost be considered mirror tier. So Mark of the Elder is nice because it has life, it has a lot of cold damage. The Tentacle Whip is also like 500k DPS, and then it also has like 80% elemental damage with attacks. So this thing is super cheap, 15 chaos. You could technically go for a Scourge one, but I don't even see any, and it'll probably be a lot more expensive. But I would just stick to the basics, 15 chaos. Ring 2, Assassin's Mark shaped ring. Now this is pretty, oh wait, that's the wrong one. That's the high budget version. So let me know if you actually want to see a higher budget version. I can make a shopping cart. So this is pretty much, you're trying to look for Assassin's Mark. Anything else is good on top. So this one has some fire damage to attacks, elemental damage with attack skills, which is really good. So basically, when you try to buy these things, you want to look for stuff that will fit your needs. So if you're missing int, if you're missing resist, then you should try to aim for. Obviously, the more stuff you have on it, the more expensive it will get. But this is pretty much just a good baseline. Like if you don't have that much money, then you're just out of luck. So you probably have to settle for something a little bit worse. But what I usually like to look for is some life and some resist if possible. The damage is honestly whatever. A lot of times it's better to just make sure your character doesn't die. As you look at my ring currently, my ring doesn't even have any damage. It's just life and some resist. I craft on strength and int. Pretty much considered a ring as like a band-aid, a fix-all solution that you can put anything on, and you could also filter it a little bit more than what I have, but I pretty much just put on the baseline of Assassin's Mark shaped ring. Chest, I would highly recommend a 6-link brass dome. It costs around 2 exalts. Make sure that you don't get baited by some horrific downside. So this one is fine because it's no downside. You don't want to get reduced effective non-curse auras. Now, brass dome, nice part about brass dome is the fact that it is an amazing chest piece for us because it fixes your elemental problems or elemental damage problems with max res, and it also fixes any fizz problems because it has 4k armor, which helps out for a lot for a molten shell. Now, next up, we have gloves, which is strike additional enemies. Any life and resist is a bonus. Now, strike additional enemies is extremely nice because of the fact that it allows us to get, oh wait, I didn't even include the strike additional enemy. But basically, let's go take a look at it. The strike additional enemy will pretty much double or triple your clear speed because if there's a nearby enemy, you'll attack twice. And then there's even a mod that's elevated, Maven, that will attack 2 enemies nearby. So basically, you can see this is around 40 chaos. This pair of gloves is probably pretty expensive if you wanted to get a lot of life or resist on. So you probably would just have to settle for some basic crafted life roll. But expect to spend around 40 to 50 chaos. So this is a strike gloves. So let me put that there for you. Save it. So yeah. Next we have belt, and I use a Stygian. Stygian is a little bit more expensive, but having the Abyss Jewel slot is huge for damage. Now Stygian, I pretty much just put here life and some resist, and pretty much just choose anything that you want in terms of whatever fixes your resist. And like this belt's pretty nice because you can actually craft on elemental damage with attacks. So it's not too expensive. 10-15 chaos can get you a pretty decent belt. And that's pretty much the slot you'll use until you can get Headhunter or something like that. Now boots are another life resist item. So you can see a lot of these items for this build are pretty generic rares. They can't really get too expensive, right? So even if someone releases a video about it or something like that, it will stay around the same price. You pretty much just want some high life, high resist, and move speed. Later on, you can graduate to Tailwind boots, but at a low budget, you don't really care about it. So it's around 20 chaos is what I put it at. Amulet, we have an amulet that I pretty much just put this. So this is the way you could like do something nice on POE trade is you can count 2. The meaning behind count 2 is that it chooses 2 of these, so it's 2 out of 3, and it will show up. And then you can put and this is 50 life. Now, unlike a lot of software people, I really value life, so I usually try to have life on almost all my pieces. So you can see these are the amulets that you can choose. You can also sort it by elemental damage attack. So this one has the most flat Ellie. So this is actually a pretty nice amulet for 30 chaos, and it's not even really any downside. So you can see you can get some pretty good stuff for relatively cheap. Amulets are usually a slot that is very wide ranging. A lot of people don't really know how much to value an amulet, but hopefully with that search you can find one that matches your needs. But pretty much you're looking for life, flat LE damage, crit multi, elemental damage with attacks, and and also accuracy is something you could throw in there, but really just depends on what you're missing. Secrets of Suffering, this is pretty much mandatory, so this is the jewel that you'll be using. Secrets of Suffering, 60 chaos. It's getting cheaper by the day, and yeah, but make sure to get this. Abyss Jewel, what I look for on Abyss Jewel to put in your Stygian is any flat LE damage with life. So here we have cheap Abyss Jewels, right? So this is life, a claw attacks, lightning damage, and cold damage to attacks. So we just have a bunch of this stuff. And this is pretty good because this is how we scale our damage, because we don't really have any damage besides the ones on our claw, our jewelry, our jewels, and our anger aura. So you can see pretty wide ranging in price. So maybe if someone bought all of these, it would be a lot more expensive. But at the currently you can see that there's some for 5 chaos. But regular jewels for the jewel sockets here. So like if you have regular jewels, so you can take these jewels here. I guess technically you can buy a watcher side too. So you can see there's some jewels for imagination. So regular jewel, you just want percent life, multi, and attack speed. And I set this up. Again, you should really learn how to use the count thing, and it really helps you out, right? So percent life, you have this, and then you have count 2. So these are all the good mods that I found that I personally like. And it will just choose any that has life and then 2 of these combination, any 2 of this combination. So here you can see the jewels are relatively expensive, 15 to 20 chaos. You can also just put a live search on and then try to find one for cheaper. But yeah, it's probably around 20 chaos. You might need 1, 2, or 3 depending on what level you are. So overall, total cost, you add it all up, it comes out to 265 chaos plus 2 exalts. Under 5 exalts can clear all content. I would say guaranteed, but can't really guarantee anything. But Glorious Vanity, you don't really need. I wouldn't really worry about it. Thread of Hope, probably do not need. And it's more end game option. Watcher's Eye, you can probably get a crit multi Watcher's Eye for like 3x or 2x or whatever, but at the start you don't really need it. And this is just like a bare bones setup. I did get a lot better gear than what most people would consider like the bare bone. Like you can play without, so you can see what's the most expensive stuff, right? The strike gloves, you don't really need strike gloves if you end up taking Tribal Fury on the tree over here. So you can cut out already like 40 chaos. The claw, you can go for a lot worse claw. Then that's like the bulk of the claws too, right? 35 chaos. And chest, you could probably use something besides the brass dome, like literally a rare corrupted chest. That's like 15, 20 chaos probably. So you can just see the only thing really mandatory that you have to buy that will cost a lot is Secrets of Suffering. Everything else you can lower it, but I feel like this is a pretty good baseline to be able to kill Awakener and everything. And hopefully this helps out everyone who wonders how much the gear comes out to be together, and some pretty good search parameters, because I do know having one of these things will make your life a lot easier in terms of shopping for items. But I'm going to showcase some footage of 100% Deli Nem 3 farming without a Headhunter, just so you can see what it's like.
Feels like I don't know you. You don't feel the same. It feels like I've lost you, floating into space. All the things we've been through are fading into blue. I would drive to Neptune just to love you more. Spacious wonderlands. Oh yeah, freeze the falling tears. We'll be always lost in here. All the things we've been through are fading into blue. I would drive to Neptune just to love you more.
Anyhow, I hope this video helped out everyone and anyone who's on the fence about trying out Lightning Strike. It is an amazing ability. It has a really smooth power curve, probably one of the smoothest power curves I've ever seen in a build, in that it feels good at 10 chaos or 2x investment, 5x investment, and then it scales really well all the way up to a couple mirrors in terms of investment. It's a really nice build because usually you don't really find builds like that. Like they have a power curve of kind of like, say, Toxic Rain, you start out really strong, but then like the more you upgrade your character, it doesn't really do much for your clear speed, right? And then you have other builds like Instacker. The power curve is completely messed up because you start out really weak and you still don't get strong until super late game. So you just have this like annoying experience that you can't really roll. And then like Aura Stackers used to be the same thing. You were super bad at the beginning investment and even mid investment level. So this build has a very smooth curve in the sense that it feels good at all stages of every upgrade from beginning to end. And that's why I highly recommend people try it. So this is more of a second reroll for someone who is pretty stingy on their gear or just don't have that much money. So you can definitely do all content with this build, and it costs around under 5 exalts for the gear I have. You can even make it cheaper to be around 2x. Now, whether you can do 100% deli at this budget, you probably could not with this gear, but you can definitely do 60 or 40% deli farming with this budget, as long as you throw in inspired learning, which adds like I think 3x or 4x or something like that. But you can definitely farm your Headhunter super easily that way, and I hope this helps out everyone who wants to play the build. Thanks for watching. I hope you find more mirrors and exalts than I do, and see you next time. Bye.